So we started with discussion with the transformation window, right? So we'll continue with the other options as well in the transformation window. Okay, so today we'll to discuss some more options, so which are useful to transform the data within the sheet. So we'll try to discuss about any column options. So we have seen about text column options, we have seen about date time column options, right? So we also will try to see the options about any column. So what are the different options we have in the any column, and as well as we'll try to understand about the options which are available for table. What are the table level transformations we can perform? So table level transformations ఏవైతే perform చేయగలమో we'll try to understand them as well on any column. So we'll try to cover as much as possible and what are the different options we have and how can we utilize them. Okay, starting with the pivot. So previously also we have seen one example of pivoting the data during the transformation window, right? మన transformations చేసేటప్పుడు pivoting గురించి ఒక example అయితే చూసాము. So let's see some more example like pivoting and unpivoting the person. So we'll try to go through one more example as well. Okay, so when you see here data, so maybe when you see the data here, right, you have a year, month and budget amount. Okay, so year, month and budget amount is there, and which is spread across a different year wise, month wise it was spread across, right? So it is in the form of rows of data, right? So మీరు చూస్తే year, month and budget amount is there, and it was spread across different each and every year key it was spread across different months, right? And if you see here clearly, so there are months also getting repeated. So because I need to observe the data, because so how the data is there, so year wise it is there, and year wise rows wise split in the, so it is in the form of months, and months are getting repeated here. So months repeat అయ్యి కూడా ఉన్నాయి. సో దానికి సంబంధించిన budget amount, this is the budget amount which we plan for it. Likewise next year is there, there is another year is there, so which is having a month spread. So maybe in this year also we'll see, is there any months repeated? No, months is not repeated, but months 12th month వరకు data అయితే లేదు. Okay, this is how the pivoted data is there in a sheet known as pivot. Okay, so it is in the form of rows. Okay, rows of data. So మన previous గా example చూసాం, what we are trying to say is so rows of data ni, so if you are trying to convert rows of data to normal columns of data, we call it as a pivoting. Means we need to convert this data which is unpivoted. This data is in form of unpivoted rows of data lo undi. Means you want to turn this data in the form of columns. Okay, and you want to turn the year or month into a column stating that I don't want to spread like this. Okay, so means you want to pivot the data. So ఇది unpivoted data అండి. So unpivoted data need to be converted to pivot. Okay, so pivoting ante you are simply saying that unpivoting is something like data is a rows wise ఉంటే దాన్ని unpivot అంటాం. Pivot అంటే rows of data ని columns గా తీసుకువస్తే దాన్నే మనం ఏమంటాం అంటే pivoting అంటాం. Means this unpivoted data which is spread across each year different months కి spread అయింది, దీన్ని మనం pivot చేయాలనుకుంటున్నాం. So the same way other, so మనకి ఇక్కడ pivot అయి ఉంది చూడండి. So this is a pivoted data. So which is a pivoted data, I need to want it to unpivot it. Unpivot it and you need to turn these columns of data to rows of data. So the reverse I want to do it. So where you can see that year and there is a column of months where you want to convert into the form of a rows. So what are the options we need to use it, and how we can convert your unpivoted to pivot or pivoted to unpivot, we'll quickly see it. Okay, so let me grab that sheet into our Power BI. So మన Power BI లోకి తీసుకొద్దాం. So what we need to do is we'll try to connect to source of Excel where my data is there. I will try to select my sheet pivot. So and I will select my file name and I will select open. Okay, so let's see, let me click a pivot and then pivot as well. Okay, let me load both the sheets into a Power BI. which are there in the Excel. I will try to load them both. Okay. So first we'll try to go with the pivot one. So means what I want to turn this into pivoting. So I want to turn this into a pivoted column. So on which column I want to turn, which is which of the column I want to make it, because month, if you see here, it is spread across 12 months. Again, it is spread across 12 months. So I want this column to be pivoted. I want to pivot this table completely on this column. Okay, so when I was trying to select, there is an option here in the transform window where you can see that pivoting and unpivoting. Okay, so where you can see here pivot. So any column under, it's not a specific of text column, it's not a specific of number column and card. Any column, so any column of any data type. Okay, so that is the point to be noted. So any column of any data type you need to check on. So where you can see that pivot, I can select on any column, so of any data type. So if I want to turn this into a column, which I want to turn this column into a like a rows of data ni columns ga marchali, I will select this column and I will simply say it as a pivot. So when I say pivot, so pivot and send chesina, it was see here. What is the option it was asking? Use the name in the column as a month to create a new columns. Yes, I want it as a new columns to spread cheyali. I want to convert into the new columns based on the, and you need to select the value column. And a value column is something like aggregatable value column. So ఇక్కడ మనకి value column అంటే budget amount is my value column, because which is spread across each and every month. సో ఇక్కడ మనం చూస్తే మన కాలమ్స్ గా మార్చినప్పుడు ఇక్కడ 2 months ఉంటే అది ఒక కాలం ఒక మంత్ గానే మారుతుంది, కాబట్టి దీన్ని ఏదైతే వాల్యూ ఉందో అది సమ్ అవుతుంది. సో బికాస్ వాట్ ఐ వాస్ సేయింగ్ టు say here is, సో బడ్జెట్ అమౌంట్ షుడ్ బి సమ్ అవ్వాలి ఇది. ఎందుకంటే ఇది కాలమ్స్ గా మారిపోయింది అనుకోండి, ఇది ఒకటే వస్తుంది, ఇలా 2 కాలమ్స్ రావు. సో యూనిక్ లిస్ట్ ఆఫ్ కాలమ్స్ వస్తాయి కదా. సో వాట్ ఈస్ మై ఐ వాస్ సెయింగ్ దట్ యూనిక్ లిస్ట్ ఆఫ్ కాలమ్స్ వచ్చినప్పుడు దీనికి రెండు మంత్స్ రెండుగా స్ప్లిట్ అయింది. సో ఈ రెండు ఏమవ్వాలి అంటున్నాను నేను, సమ్ అవ్వాలి అంటున్నాను. You can keep different things as well. So you don't want to sum, you don't want to aggregate also, you can make it దీని మీద average కావాలి, median కావాలి. So you can choose any aggregate function. So what I was trying to say is, నాకు కావాల్సిన aggregate function ఏంటి, దీనిపైన sum. So I want to make it as a sum. If 2 or more months repeat అంటే ఒకే మంత్ 3 సార్లు రిపీట్ అయింది అంటే దానికి సంబంధించిన బడ్జెట్ అమౌంట్ ఏమవ్వాలి, I want to get it sum. Simply I'll say it okay, value column వచ్చి sum. Okay, so once I say it, so చూడండి, so it's completely changing the structure of the table. As I said that నేను ఒక కాలమ్ మీద యూజ్ చేసి దాన్ని కంప్లీట్ గా కాలమ్స్ గా మార్చాను. సో year 2010 and 11, so which is having a columns, rows of data anta kuda it was turned into columns, because I want to shape the data like this, because I don't want to have a each and every row data ఎక్కువగా కనిపిస్తుంది rows of data. So I don't want that rows of data, I want to convert into a column so that 2 rows లోనే మొత్తం డేటా రిప్రజెంట్ చేయాలనుకున్నాను. సో వేర్ యూ కెన్ సీ దట్ సమ్మేషన్ జరిగిందా లేదా అని చూస్తే మంత్ 11 చూడండి. సో ఇట్ ఈస్ 2 months అంటే 1 month కి 2 బడ్జెట్ వాల్యూస్ ఉన్నాయి, అంతా కూడా సమ్ అయిపోయింది. అండ్ వేర్ యూ కెన్ సీ దట్ ఇయర్ కి 11th 12th లేదు కాబట్టి it was showing as a null values. So null values means it doesn't have any value. So you can also replace the null values with you can also select replace values, and you can always fill these values as well. So ఈ కాలమ్ నాకు ఈ కాలమ్ ని సెలెక్ట్ చేసి నేను రీప్లేస్ కూడా చేసుకోవచ్చు, రైట్. రీప్లేస్ ద వాల్యూస్ ఆఫ్ null values with I can say it as a 0, where I can quickly replace the null values with the 0 values as well. So right, so likewise you can always convert your rows of data into the columns. Okay, so let's see the reverse thing. Okay, so where we have another thing where you have a columns of data. The same thing, I have a columns of data, I want to turn these columns of data into rows of data. So here I have another option known as the unpivoting. So unpivoting, you have, when you see side, you have a different option: unpivot columns, unpivot other columns, unpivot on the only selected column. Okay, let's say I have how many number of columns I need to select. It's not one column, ikkada oka column ledu. I have a columns across 9 months yokka columns unnai, and all columns ni select cheyali, because any columns meeda kalipi naku unpivoting kavali. So unpivoting kavali ante I need to select all these columns, column 1, column 2, column 3. I need to select 4, 5, 6, right? I need to select 7, 8, 9. So అన్ని columns select chesi, I need to say it as a unpivot and select cheyali. So then I need to choose a thing known as a unpivot and columns and select cheyochu, unpivot and only selected columns and cheyochu. Okay, so unpivoted columns ante mottam columns మీద unpivot అయిపోతుంది. So I don't want on all columns, I want only on the selected columns. So నేను select చేసిన columns మీద unpivot చేయొచ్చు. బట్ దిస్ ఇస్ ద ట్రబుల్, రైట్? సో అంటే అన్ని మంత్స్ రేపొద్దున ఇంకొక మంత్ యాడ్ అయింది అనుకోండి, సో యూ నీడ్ టు చూస్ దట్ మంత్ మాన్యువల్లీ. సో దిస్ విల్ వర్క్, సో దిస్ అబ్సల్యూట్లీ విల్ వర్క్. సో మీకు ఇలా అయ్యి, సో ఇట్ విల్ ట్రై టు కన్వర్ట్ ఎవర్ అన్పివోటింగ్. బట్ సెలెక్షన్ ఐ డోంట్ వాంట్ టు మేక్ ఇట్ లైక్ దట్. నేను ఆ సెలెక్షన్ చేయాలనుకోవట్లేదు. సో సెలెక్షన్ అంటే 9 months ని సెలెక్ట్ చేయకుండా, సో దెర్ ఇస్ అన్ అనదర్ ఆప్షన్. సో ఈ ఒక్క కాలమ్ సెలెక్ట్ చేసి అన్పివోట్ ఆన్ అదర్ కాలమ్స్ అని పెడితే సరిపోతుంది కదా. సో అదర్ దాన్ ద ఇయర్ ద రిమైనింగ్ అన్ని కూడా మంత్స్ ఉన్నాయి కాబట్టి, సో ఈ ఒక్కదాన్ని సెలెక్ట్ చేసి అన్పివోట్ ఆన్ అదర్ కాలమ్స్ అంటే ఈ కాలమ్ ని వదిలేసి మిగతా అన్ని కాలమ్స్ మీద అన్పివోట్ చేయమంటున్నారు. బికాస్ ఐ కుడ్ నాట్ పివోట్ ఆన్ ఆల్ కాలమ్స్. ఆర్ ఓన్లీ సెలెక్టెడ్ కాలమ్స్ అంటే సెలెక్ట్ చేసి నేను చెయ్యొచ్చు. That is only one other thing. But 9 columns select chese badalu, I can select only one column and exclude it, saying that unpivot on other columns. Simply saying that, right? So it is unpivoted. If you see here, the data is completely year wise and is repeated months wise, and you get the different values. And later we can always rename it, whatever the thing you want it, rename month and as well as budget amount or amount wherever you want it, whatever the amount you want it, you can always say it, right? So you can always rename it according to your need. So you can always rename. So that is the use of it. So you are changing the rows into columns or columns into the rows. So where that will be helpful with the use of pivoting and unpivoting. Okay, you can always go with the converting them the structure of the table, so whenever you want it, right? So that is where I was trying to understand. Okay, so that is where we are trying to understand pivoting and unpivoting as well. So what are the options we have in any column? Let's see quickly. So data types, as I said that you can always change the data type of it. So మీరు ఇక్కడ నుంచి చేంజ్ చేయొచ్చు, or you can select it and you can change the data type of it. Let's say text గా చేంజ్ చేయాలనుకుంటున్నాను, I can always change it and it will be written in the back end. So I can say that it is turned into a data type of text which is of characters, right? So you can always detect the data type. What is the correct data type? If you don't want it, మీకు తెలియదు అనుకున్నప్పుడు you can always choose this correct data type వచ్చేది like a numeric 1 2 3 and a whole number. You can always change it to text if you really require it. So next you can always add a new steps, or you want to replace this step. I want to replace the step. Yes. So next you can always rename it. So here badalu you can always go with whatever the column you want it, name, order, year. Likewise you can always rename it to make it more readable way, meaningful way. Okay, so next what we are trying to say is you can always replace the values. So replacing the value is nothing but the value, and let's say I want to replace a particular 2010. I want to replace, I will try to find out the entire column. I enter column lo 2010 find chesi, I'll say that 2010-01 I want to replace likewise. I can always replace it. So here there is an options here, chudandi, value to find, value with. So which value you want to say? So you want to match the entire content. Yes, entire cell content, and entire cell content ante 2010 మొత్తాన్ని exactly match cheyala leda ani. So replace using the special characters. If you want to replace any or insert any special characters, you can always replace it. So right now I don't want to match entire cell content, whatever there is there. 2010 అనేది ఎక్కడ కనిపిస్తే అక్కడ నాకు ఏం కావాలి, I want to replace it with 2010-01. So likewise you can always replace the values. So this will be this will be helping you to edit the data indirectly. So when you are trying to change the data in a particular column indirectly, you can always change it. Okay, so then there is a step, there is another functionality where you can also replace the errors. Sometimes there will be when loading the data, there will be some errors. So you'll get some errors. You can also replace that errors directly. So if you want to catch that errors, you cannot catch it. Error and రాయలేరు కాబట్టి so error ఉన్న value ని zero గా replace చేయాలి అంటే you can always replace that with the zeros or something. You can always replace the errors as well. So there is an option for us. So fill, yesterday we have seen that filling the down the values, neighboring cells, right? So neighboring cells empty unte, you can always fill the values. So up and down as well. It's not a neighboring values meeku ekkadana kuda fill avaledu ante, so you can always fill the up as well as fill down. So next was pivoting. Unpivoting, we already seen that. The same way we can also move the cells to the right if you want it to move the end. మీరు end కి move చేయాలి ఒక particular value ని, or you want to start it at the beginning or something like reordering the columns, we can always do the reordering of the columns as well. Okay, convert to list, I'll try to tell you. So there is an use case, I need to go with that use case. నేను దీని ఆప్షన్ మీకు చూపిస్తాను. ఓకే, సో బిఫోర్ దట్ నెక్స్ట్ ట్రాన్స్ఫర్మేషన్స్ చూసేటప్పుడు ఒక ఎగ్జాంపుల్ రన్ త్రూ చేద్దాం. సో ఇప్పుడు దాకా మనం ఏం చేసాం, we have taken all the excels, right? So today I will try to understand about CSV as well. I'll try to take the source of CSV as well. So CSV ante the data will be in the form of comma separated, right? So let's see first the data, then we'll load it and what is the problem we are getting it in that loading, and we'll see it. So I have a CSV, so where you can see here sample healthcare file. So where I can see properties in wealth. So when I see the properties or wherever I could see, so it was saying that the CSV, so comma separated values. So comma separated values is meant by, so each and every value is separated by a delimiter. So to clearly understand, let me open that file and we'll see that. So generally మనం notepad లో open చేస్తే you could see that difference. If you are opening in Excel, you will not find any difference. Let's say if you open that in a notepad, so you can see that there is a difference of each and every value is separated by a comma. So చూడండి, so this is a patient ID, patient first name, last name, gender, email and everything, and what is the expenses, and each and every value is separated by a comma. So we call this as a delimiter. మనం ఆల్రెడీ ప్రీవియస్ గా కూడా స్ప్లిట్ బై కాలమ్స్ లో కూడా అండర్స్టాండ్ చేసుకున్నాం. ఒక వాల్యూని ఇంకొక వాల్యూని స్ప్లిట్ చేస్తుంది అంటే ఇట్ వాస్ డివైడింగ్, we call it as a delimiter. Here the delimiter for each and every value will be a comma. So that is the reason we say it as a comma separated values. So general గా మనకి ఎక్సెల్ లో చూసినప్పుడు సేమ్ ఎక్సెల్ లాగే ఉంటుంది. So if you try to open that ఎక్సెల్ ఫైల్ ని మన నోట్ ప్యాడ్ లో ఓపెన్ చేయలేము, but CSV file we can open it in the notepad and you can clearly see that. And one more thing I could say, that Excel will take same data and Excel store cheste, it will take like a size heavy ఉంటుంది. When you store it in a CSV, the size is very less. Means the size ఎందుకు తక్కువ ఉంటుంది అంటే CSV will store every data in the form of text format. అది నెంబర్ అవనివ్వండి, if it is a numeric, if it is a date, anything, it will be storing in the text format. సో టెక్స్ట్ ఫైల్ ఫార్మాట్ లోనే స్టోర్ అవుతుంది. వేరేస్ ఇన్ ఎక్సెల్ కి ఏంటంటే డేటా టైప్స్ డిటెక్ట్ అవుతాయి. సో అంటే డేటా టైప్స్ తగ్గట్టు స్టోర్ చేస్తుంది, అంటే ఇంటీజర్స్ గా, టెక్స్ట్ అండ్ టెక్స్ట్ గా. కానీ ఈ సిఎస్వి కానీ ఏదైనా టెక్స్ట్ ఫైల్ కానీ డేటా మొత్తం టెక్స్ట్ ఫార్మాట్ లో స్టోర్ చేస్తుంది కాబట్టి లెస్ స్పేస్ తీసుకుంటుంది. అండ్ ఇట్ విల్ లైక్ లెస్ స్పేస్ అంటే less size లో స్టోర్ అయిపోతుంది. సో దట్ ఈస్ వర్ పీపుల్ విల్ ట్రై టు సపోర్ట్, ఆల్వేస్ ట్రై టు ఆస్క్ యూ, ఇఫ్ ఇట్ ఈస్ నాట్ ఓపెనింగ్ ఇన్ Excel, you try to save it as a CSV and open it. So because the CSV will occupy less size actually. Okay, so let's see. So let me load this file. So CSV file kuda manaki load chese opportunity undi kabatti we can use that CSV file as well. Okay, so let's go to new source. So new sources lo we have an option where you can always load the CSV file also, right? So let me quickly, so text or CSV, where I can choose that CSV and I can connect it. Okay, so let's see. So where is our text file or CSV files? What are the text files I could be able to see? Yes, so this is the file we have. So if you see here, it was it in the Unicode format of UTF-8. So where you can see the delimiter. So by default, it is selected as a delimiter. Ante because sometimes some text files vastayi, some text files we'll be coming with a different type set of delimiters. అవి ఏమైనా అవ్వచ్చు చూడండి. సో there are different types of delimiters, colon, semicolon తో రావచ్చు. Okay, so where you can see equal sign తో రావచ్చు, slash తోటి, tab, some people will keep a custom separators as well and they will generate it. సో ఏదైనా కూడా ఒక అప్లికేషన్ నుంచి డ్రైవ్ అయ్యి, అంటే జనరల్ గా ఒక అప్లికేషన్ నుంచి మీకు డౌన్లోడ్ అయిన ఫైల్ కి డిఫరెంట్ సెట్ ఆఫ్ స్టాండర్డ్ డీలిమిటర్స్ ఉంటాయి. సో వీ కెన్ కన్జ్యూమ్ ఇట్ డేటా విత్ డిఫరెంట్ డీలిమిటర్స్ as well. There is a scope. And చూడండి, the next one they are trying to say is your data type detection is based on the first 200 columns में చేయాలా, లేకపోతే ఎంటైర్ డేటా సెట్ में చేసి చేయాలా, లేకపోతే అసలు డేటా టైప్స్ డిటెక్ట్ చేయొద్దా. Okay, so you can always choose that option as well. So I think even if you select the data types selection chesna, detect chesna, by default it was a text. Maybe it's, let's see what Power BI is helping us to detect the data types. Manaki exactly data and check chesi detect chesta antundi perfect data types meeku ante meeku pani cheyakka lekunda. So let's see. Okay, got chuddam. So data types ni correct ga select chesinda ledha cheddam. So చూస్తే data types అన్ని కూడా text format లో నన్ను చెప్పు. Like when you see here, everything is in the form of text format, right? At least ikkada మాత్రం detect చేసింది, where you can see that ఈ integers ఉన్నాయి అయితే తీసుకొచ్చింది. సో బట్ మిగతా అన్ని కూడా టెక్స్ట్ ఫార్మాట్ లో ఉన్నాయి, డిటెక్ట్ చేసింది. somehow it was detecting. సో కంప్లీట్ గా అన్ని టెక్స్ట్ ఉన్నాయి మనకి. సో ఫస్ట్ బై డిఫాల్ట్ గా అన్ని టెక్స్ట్ ఉన్నాయి. సో ఇట్ వాస్ ట్రైయింగ్ టు పుట్ సమ్ row as a header, first row as a header గా ప్లేస్ చేసింది. మనం ఆల్రెడీ నేను ఆప్షన్ చూసాము, ఫస్ట్ రో as a header గా. సో వేర్ ఇఫ్ యూ హ్యావ్ ఎ రో విచ్ ఇస్ డజంట్ కమ్ as a header, మనం ఏం చేసాం, ప్రమోట్ హెడర్స్ చేసాం, రైట్? ద డేటా ఇలా వస్తే మనకి ఏం చేసిందంటే పవర్ బిఐ వాస్ హెల్పింగ్ అస్, రైట్? సో డేటా ఇలా వస్తే, సో వాట్ ఇట్ వాస్ టేకింగ్ కేర్ ఆఫ్, ఫస్ట్ రో అనేది మనకి ప్యూర్ గా హెడ్డింగ్ నార్మల్ వస్తే, సో ఇట్ వాస్ ట్రైయింగ్ టు హెల్ప్ అస్ టు ప్రమోట్ ద హెడర్స్, right? Promote the headers chesindi. So where you can see that data types kuda automatically change ayini, and it is able to detect the correct data types as well. Okay, so that is good. So we got that as well. So still I was able to see one of the, I was going through each and every column, just I was trying to go for each and every column. I could see this data type is not aligned correctly. So admission date and undi. So admission date, I want to align it as a date and time column, obviously, because the date and time column laga data type kavali. So but it is not turned it. So నేను డేటాని అబ్జర్వ్ చేశాను. సో డేటా అబ్జర్వ్ చేస్తే ఎందుకు ఇలా చేసిందని చూస్తే, సమ్ డేట్స్ క్లయింట్ ఏమి ఇచ్చాడంటే స్లాష్ ఇచ్చాడు, సమ్ డేట్స్ తో మధ్యలో హైఫన్ ఇచ్చాడు. సో మేబీ డేటా వాడు సరిగ్గా ప్లేస్ చేయలేదు. సో డేటా అనేది సో పర్ఫెక్ట్ గా లేదు. దిస్ ఇస్ ఎ మిక్స్ అండ్ మ్యాచ్ ఆఫ్ ఎవ్రీథింగ్ when you see here, right? So ilanti situation vastadi. So then we need to resize, readjust the data. First of all, we'll try to turn this as a date and time ga try cheddam, em avutodo chuddam. So what it will be done. Okay, so I'll try to add as a new step, new change data type. When you see here chudandi, so it was getting me error. So this is the problems we'll get. సో ఇవన్నీ కూడా ఎర్రర్ గా వచ్చేసింది, రైట్? ఇట్ వాస్ కంప్లీట్లీ ఎర్రర్డ్ అవుట్, మీన్స్ ఇట్ ఈస్ నాట్ ఏబుల్ టు కన్వర్ట్ అని. ఇట్ వాస్ క్లియర్లీ సే దట్ వెన్ ఐ క్లిక్ ఆన్ దట్ ఎర్రర్, వీ కుడ్ నాట్ పార్స్ ద ఇన్పుట్ ప్రొవైడ్ యాజ్ ఎ డేట్ టైమ్ వాల్యూ. మీరు ఇన్పుట్ గా ప్రొవైడ్ చేసిన దాన్ని నేను డేట్ అండ్ టైమ్ వాల్యూగా మార్చలేను. సో దట్ ఈస్ వాట్ ఇట్ వాస్ ట్రైయింగ్ టు సే. So but we want it as a date and time because I want to show the data in the form of year wise graph year anukuntunnanu, or months wise graph year anukuntunnanu. So where I could get that quarter wise gani, if I want to get some transformations on a date, so date మీద నాకు transformations కావాలి అంటే I want to convert into a date time, then only can use that date time transformations use చేయగలుగుతాం, right? So where I need to put some effort here. So before converting it, I need to adjust the data perfectly. I need to make the data very perfect. So need data and perfect ga cheyali. So unless I could not convert it into a form of date and time format. So in date and time format loki convert cheyalanu. So unless I need to adjust the data. So there are different methodologies and so I was going with one of the methodology. So you can also choose different options. Ikkada manaki different options unnayi. You can also choose different options. I was trying to go with one option where what I will try to do is, first of all, I will separate this date and time separately. Okay, so then separate cheyali ante I have a thing known as a split. So yesterday we have seen that about split, right? Split and ఏంటండి? You can split a single column value into two different columns, right? So why was yeah. So నేను ఏం చేద్దాం అనుకుంటున్నాను, డేట్ ని అడ్జస్ట్ చేద్దాం అనుకుంటున్నాను. Okay, so I was trying to adjust the date. Okay, so date ని adjust చేయాలనుకుంటున్నాను. So I want to separate the date first. I want to split the date. So by delimiter, I will try to split it. So by delimiter of space ఎందుకు తీసుకుంటానంటే, so why I was trying to take a space. Okay, so I was trying to go for a space is because I want to separate this date and time. So separate చేయాలనుకుంటున్నాను. So that is what I was saying, that there are different ways to handle this. This is the first way I was trying to handle. Split by delimiter, where I could say that each occurrence I could say that okay, I want to separate it. So where it was trying to separate it correctly, so where you can see that ఇది perfect గా time గా suit అయింది, but still it is in the form of normal date only. Okay, so కానీ ఇది ఇంకా నేను డేట్ లో తీసుకురావాలి. సో ఒకే ఫార్మాట్ లో తీసుకురావాలనుకుంటున్నాను. సో వాట్ ఐ విల్ ట్రై టు డూ ఈజ్ ఐ విల్ రీప్లేస్ దిస్ స్లాషెస్. ఈ స్లాష్ ఉన్నాయి కదా, సో ఎయిదర్ ఐ కెన్ మేక్ లైక్ హైఫన్స్ స్లాష్ చేయడం కానీ స్లాష్ ని హైఫన్ చేయడం కానీ ఐ కెన్ మేక్ ఇట్, రైట్? So I can try to make it. Okay, so where I will try to see what I can do. I will replace this value. So what I can do is I can replace. Okay, so let me replace. What I can find is hyphen. Where is the hyphen? I will try to replace with the slash, and I'll simply say okay. So when you see here, so everything is coming into same format అని మనం అనుకుంటున్నాం, but there is a simple difference here. So చూడండి, so there is a 07 here. Okay, there is a 06 here. Hello, yeah, నా వాయిస్ బ్రేక్ అవుతుందండి. So is it still?
The voice is breaking, sir.
వాయిస్ బ్రేక్ అవుతుంది ఇంకా. So is it same thing? Hello. Yeah. So now voice ఇంకా బ్రేక్ అవుతుందా? Is it same thing? You are able to, or I can switch my. Give me 1 second. Yeah, still the same you are feeling, or it is okay adjusted? I'll switch my network.
Sir, breaking, sir.
Still breaking, huh?
Right now is good.
Okay. Yeah, so yeah, what I was trying to say is I was trying to adjust my admission date. So in admission date lo edaithe replace values undo I replaced it. So I replaced this slash or hyphen with a slash completely. So I was turning the hyphen, right? So there is a hyphen in between it, right? So hyphen edaithe undo danni nenu I was replaced with slash, right? I was clearly replacing it with. So to adjust it into a same format, and the same format lo తీసుకురావాలనుకుంటున్నాను. So that is what I was trying to do. Okay, so still I could see 07 and 06. So 06 level 0 కొన్నిటికి 07 ఉంది. Some dates has a 06 and some day has a 08 ఉంది, 8 ఉంది, right? So it is like I was trying to see here, right? So stuck అవుతుందా still? Full back. Let me check once. Hello. Is still the same? ఇంకా అలాగే ఉందండి. Hello. Are you still getting the same struck?
Now it's fine, sir.
Okay. Because I have a full bandwidth actually. I was checking my speed test. I have a full bandwidth actually. Okay. So let's see. So what I was trying to say is I was trying to replace this hyphen, like I would say that like hyphen ఏదైతే ఉందో, so I was trying to replace with a slash. Okay. So then what I was trying to see here is I was still seeing some adjustments because me చూస్తే so there is a 08 is there and ఇక్కడ మనకు చూస్తే 7 ఉంది. So there is a difference of things as well. So the difference of things ఉన్నాయి ఇంకా still. So what I will try to do is still if I was trying to convert it, నేను ఇక్కడ దీనికి ఇంకా కన్వర్ట్ చేస్తాను అనుకోండి. Still I was converting here, right? So still when I was trying to convert, right? Still it is giving me an error. Still I was getting some error here, right? So error inka still నాకు error వస్తుంది. Means it is not correctly replacing, means it is not correctly adjusted. So what I was trying to do is I will try to split it by a delimiter again. So what I will try to do is I'll try to split it by a delimiter of a slash. So I want to split it by a delimiter known as a slash and I will click OK. Where you can see that it is splitted by a slash into 3 columns. Tuesday. Right. So what I will try to do is I'll say it as if you really want to rename, we can rename it as a day. Right. So this is sorry month. Day. Right. You can see here I have splitted these 3 things into 3 different parts. Right. So what I did is I splitted by slash. Right. I splitted it by slash. So previous ఉన్న value తీసుకొచ్చి నేను దేంతో split చేశానండి. I splitted it with a slash so that it is splitted into 3 different columns. Okay. So 3 different columns got split chesindi. So it was splitted into 3 different columns. So then I was combining. So first column is this one, second is this one, month, and third one is a date. So I was trying to split these 3 columns or merging these 3 columns into a single column, which is known as my date column. So what I will try to do is after this, I'll try to add this step and say it as a merge columns. I'll say it as a you want to keep slash, I'll say it as a admission. So let's try. Yes. Right. So ఇది మనకి, so it was purely converted into date column. Purely into a date column, right? It converted purely into a date column. So you can also combine these two things. So with a space, say it as a admission date. Let's see, can we change it into a date and time? Yes, it's perfect. So it perfectly converted. From here, so దీని నుంచి నేను I can create a duplicate column. So దీని నుంచి I can extract a year as well. If I want to extract quarter, months, month name, extract month name as well, right? So admission so sometimes మన data ఈ విధంగా ఉండొచ్చు. So we performed a number of transformations. I could say that we performed a number of transformations. So these number of transformations we made it in order to change the data, right? In order to change the format of the data according to our requirement. So this is like we need to see the data. So we need to use the existing transformations use chesi we adjusted the finally the date format. Maybe client ఒకసారి మన date ని perfect గా ఇవ్వకపోవచ్చు. So that is the reason I converted it into a perfect date time format in a unique format. అంటే మొత్తం అక్రాస్ మన షీట్ అంతా కూడా ఒకే యూనిక్ ఫార్మాట్ ఆఫ్ డేట్ ఫార్మాట్ లో తీసుకొచ్చాను. సో దట్ ఈస్ వేర్ ఐ కెన్ అడ్జస్ట్ దట్ డేట్స్ ఇంటూ అకార్డింగ్ టు అవర్ రిక్వైర్మెంట్. మనం కావాల్సిన విధంగా డేట్స్ మొత్తం అడ్జస్ట్ చేసుకున్నాము. సో దెన్ ఐ ప్లేస్డ్ ఇట్, రైట్? So like I replaced it, I splitted it, and I merged it again, and I finally made it as a perfect into perfect date.